Hotep. Welcome to segment 4 of Word Sound Creates Our Realities, or Manifests Our Realities. Now, if you're just coming in on this one, I'm not saying that you don't have to listen to this one. However, I do suggest that you check out the previous 3 before this one to get a very good idea as to what's been laid forth so far, so you can, catch up and get a feel for what's going on and don't get caught, I guess, in a state of stupor. Okay, now, when I last left off, I was dealing with the science of words, the etymology of words, and specific words that we use in our day-to-day dialect, language, or whichever we wish to call it, and how these particular words or manifestations don't really mean what we have been conditioned or forced to believe or accept. Okay, especially dealing with belief. Belief is not anything backed up by fact. A person can say, hey, the shit is God. Well, technically it is in some ways, but get into that later. Now, I left off with one reference to the word God, and I'll read it again, to start back there. It says, in certain other religions, a superhuman being or spirit worship as having power over nature or human fortunes, a deity. Okay? An idol, image, animal, or other object worship as divine or symbolizing a god. And we have seen in ancient cultures that, and especially that of Kemet or Egypt, as some of you may know of, a lot of times when you would see a particular statue or symbol that referred to a Neteru, because contrary to popular belief, there is no word in the ancient languages or the ancient sciences that refer to any other forces of nature in those times being God. In the ancient Kemetic teachings, it was known as Neteru or Uneter. Okay? Now, once again, dealing with someone possessing superhuman abilities. Now, I don't know if some of you have seen it lately. I think it's either the Learning Channel or the Discovery Channel. There was this documentary that came on about these 4 individuals who were able to do things that were considered superhuman. You had one brother from, I think he was from Iceland or Greenland, one of those places, and he is able to go in like 0 or below 0 temperatures naked and doesn't freeze. And one of the things they asked him was like, well, how did you do it? Well, how are you able to do it? He was like, well, in my mind, I just tell my brain I'm not cold. I focus on a certain part of my brain and go from there. And even though it was complex to them, it was very simple for me to understand where he was coming from. He did it by mere effort of will. He didn't call up to no so-called God or no so-called spirits. He just he picked up some things that he learned in his yoga class and applied them. And that's it. Simplistically. So, based upon one of the references or definitions of God, one possessing superhuman abilities, or a superhuman being, or, that's it. Now, let's get into some other references. God, an adored, admire, or influential person. Yeah, you hear that? So that means anyone in your life who has been very influential to you in some ways is considered a God. Because, like I said before in the last video, God simply refers to that which progenerates, that which issues forth, that which sends things in motion. So if someone influential in your life can say a few words, some inspiring words, and these seeds are implanted into your subconscious mind, which is the feminine aspect of your mind, and they allow you to act, which is the masculine aspect of your mind, along certain lines, in order to bring forth a particular manifestation. There you have it. Once again, dealing with one who regenerates. So not only is that influential person considered a so-called God, you're considered one too. Because in order for any of those things to even have taken place, you got to make the decision in order for it to happen, right? Okay. Now, moving right along. Now, when you get to, let's see here, when you look up the etymology of the word, because you may have to go to something like Wikipedia or another source like I did, and I found some more on the etymology of the word, and it states this: the earliest written form of the Germanic word God, that means that the word God was issued forth from Germanic dialect or Germanic language. That means from Germany. The word God comes from the 6th century Christian Codex Argenteus. The English word itself is derived from the Proto-Germanic, okay, I guess proto meaning before. Most linguists agree that the reconstructed Proto-Indo-European form of this, and here's the word Ghutom, I guess this is Gutom, was based on the root Gaul, which meant either to call or invoke. To call or invoke. The Germanic words for God were originally Neteru. That's Neuter. Now, doesn't that sound very close to the word Neter, Neter, which comes out of the ancient Kemetic sciences, which refers to the whole totality of nature, or what we refer to as God? Here it is, sitting right here. The Germanic words for God were originally neuter, applied to both genders, because when you research Neter refers to both genders, or both masculine and feminine powers. Okay? But during the process of Christianization of the Germanic peoples from their indigenous Germanic paganism, that means anybody that wasn't down with the religious bull crap that, you know, Europeans were attempting to force upon individuals, the word became a masculine syntactic form. So that means after these people had accepted or had Christianity forced into their lives, when they dealt with nature or the so-called God force or the creator force, they didn't look at it as being masculine or feminine. It was both. Because we're looking at the essence that is in back of that creates what we call the so-called masculine and the so-called feminine. So if we really want to look at the true nature of the Neteru or God, God can't be a so-called male and female. God is the essence that creates that, meaning that God is above that. Correct? Now, it just told you in the etymology that it was later, after Christianization, that they made it into a masculine form. Alright? So I feel that that's enough that I can give you on that particular word. Now, I realize that this particular segment of this post was entirely about this word God. However, this is what I wish to bring forth, because these are things that we have to know if we're going to move onward into the future and claim our own power as emanations of nature or emanations of God, whichever you wish to call it. Okay? And in order to truly be able to be one who can bring forth or invoke or progenerate or to bring into manifestation, we have to be conscious of what we're doing. We have to embrace that God aspect of ourselves. If not, then it's left for the powers that be to do it, as they have been doing. This is why they sought it necessary to infiltrate all institutions or all groups of spirituality, whether metaphysical or whatever, and put their own spin to it to take away the essence of what it is. You can't have a God or a creator without the masculine and both feminine energies. Those are the energies that create. They bring things into manifestation. I will explain more of that in the next segment. Hotep.